There's been talk that the Ombudsman will be dealing with negligence claims. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Certainly the Ombudsman can investigate complaints about matters that could in theory be the subject of negligence claims, yes. In the end though, we're asking a different question. We're not asking, does this constitute negligence in the legal sense? We're not a court of law and we're not set up to judge that. What we ask is, was this service, was the legal service that was offered decent or was it poor? Now that could cover cases where the lawyer plainly has given entirely incorrect advice or has missed a deadline or has been otherwise grossly negligent. And in those cases, if that's what we find, then we will order redress and that's what will happen. On the other hand, I'm not here as a layperson to substitute my own lay opinion for a properly constituted legal opinion. Many of the issues that lawyers deal with are contested. You have, by definition, two legal opinions involved. You know, the plaintiff and the defendant both have got legal advice. Both of those presumably are relying on advice that says you have a decent case. One of those lawyers is going to be wrong. So long as those the lawyers have taken everything properly into account and given a decent professional view, it would be entirely wrong for me to substitute my own view, even if the lawyer's view turns out to have been wrong, found wanting in court.
One of the concerns is how are you going to quantify the loss associated with a complaint? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The principle of the award for us is not a punishment for behaviour or bad behaviour. It is merely an attempt to find a mechanism, as far as is possible, and it won't always be possible, to put the complainant back in the position they should have been had they received a decent legal service. So you're quite right. The difficulty with that is to try and quantify the level of award necessary. In that we will go through, I guess, a similar process as would be gone through in court. But again, there are lots of parallels with other ombudsman schemes about how to approach this. My chair, for example, was for many years the chief ombudsman in the surveyor's ombudsman scheme, and is well used to trying to quantify the loss in relation to, say, negligence in relation to the activities of surveyors in house purchases. So this is, while it's obviously something of which we're going to have to be very careful, there are lots of precedents about how to go about it.
Once the Ombudsman has made his finding, is there any opportunity for the complainant to take the matter to the courts?
Once a complainant has accepted the Ombudsman's decision, and the complainant can reject the Ombudsman's decision, the lawyer cannot, the complainant can, then that cuts off all future routes to legal action. So you're right, once any complainant accepts a case, they cannot then take a negligence claim. But as I've said, we will not be saying, in this case we have found this is gross negligence, because that's a legal judgment which I'm not qualified to make. What I can though say is, in this case we believe that the service the lawyer provided was poor.
What happens if the claimant has instructed solicitors? Are they able to recover legal costs?
I think that's it depends on how the circumstances under which the complainant did instruct solicitors. We will take that on a case-by-case basis. Certainly, though, I do not expect any complainant to have to instruct solicitors in order to bring a complaint to us. Our processes and procedures should not be so complex, and the concept should not be so difficult to render it necessary for a complainant to use a solicitor. In the end, nobody needs to present a case to us, they just need to raise a complaint and we will then do all the legwork afterwards.
Certainly, I think it's fair to say that many of our members will be very concerned about the Ombudsman making cost orders as a matter of routine. It would have to be made in exceptional circumstances.
I'm trying to ask myself as we speak, what are the sorts of cases where we might order costs? And at the moment I can't think of those cases, but what I don't want to do is absolutely to rule it out, because there may be circumstances under which it genuinely looks as though that was what was necessary in order to achieve the result, and it was an inevitable result of the lawyers poor service. And in the end, that's the question. We're interested in the causal link between any action or inaction that the lawyer took, and any loss that anybody or detriment that anybody suffered. So, for example, it's all very well to say that to claim that a financial loss was the immediate consequence of a lawyer's mistake, but we've got to see the causal links in the chain before we're willing to make an award.
How is the Ombudsman Service going to deal with the complainant trying to justify the use of a solicitor on the basis of the complexity of the case or the complaint, or in order to assist on the quantification of the loss?
The point here is that we are running an inquisitorial, not an adversarial process, and it is our job to understand the complexity of the case. It is our job to ask for the facts which establish the quantum of any loss. So it shouldn't require the complainant to have their case made for them by a solicitor.
What advice would you give to lawyers who receive a complaint?
I think the first thing that lawyers need to do is to look at their own complaints procedure. The SRA, under instructions from the Legal Services Board, are requiring lawyers to re-examine their complaints procedure. It's be far better for a complaint that comes into a lawyer or a law firm to be resolved properly at the first stage, so that it doesn't have to go anywhere near the Ombudsman. So lawyers can take steps to try and resolve cases and examine them properly in their own offices first. Inevitably, though, some cases need to come to the Ombudsman, not least sometimes because lawyers need the protection of saying to a complainant, look, if you really don't like what I'm saying, go to the Ombudsman. And then that will come to us. Then what we'd be looking to see is, first of all, we'd be looking to see a good quality complaint file. If the law firm has done their first tier complaints handling correct, the complaint file should be all we need. That should contain all the information about what happened and the rationale for the decisions being made. And if that's there, then we can reach a very, very swift and easy conclusion.
Okay, Adam, I think this has been incredibly useful and beneficial to our members. Is there anything else you want to say to members before we conclude?
I think the key thing for me is for people not to be scared of the new service. In the end, we're not here to punish, we're not here to blame, we're just here to sort out mistakes if mistakes have arisen. Now, one of the things that I'm acutely conscious of, setting up an organisation which is yet to go live, is that in the last 15 months in setting the organisation up, I will have made many hundreds of mistakes, and those mistakes will become visible, all too visible to everybody on the 6th of October when we open for business. Now, it's in the nature of all of us to be imperfect and to make mistakes from time to time, and sometimes those mistakes give rise to complaints. That doesn't make you a bad lawyer, it doesn't make you unprofessional, it doesn't make you uncaring. It just means that mistakes have been made. It's inevitable. What matters is how we respond to that, and simply being open and honest, and if necessary apologising, is all I ask of anybody.
I think it's fair to say that most members expect to have complaints from time to time. It's inevitable. However, it's also recognised that when a complaint is received, it should be dealt with in an effective and efficient way. If that can't be dealt with by the law firm and it does go out to an external body, then from what you've said, and I have to say I'm encouraged by it, that hopefully the complaints will be handled in a very effective way, which will not only benefit the consumer, it'll also uphold the reputation of the legal profession. Well, can I conclude by thanking you for taking time out today to speak to us. On behalf of Birmingham Law Society and its members, we wish you the very best with this new legal ombudsman service.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you and your members.